Hi guys, thanks for sitting down and speaking with me today.
No worries, no worries. Thanks for having us.
All right, so let's start with my first question. Tell me, where did the name Fake a Smile come from?
Where did it come from? So, when did we decide to start this whole thing? A few years back now.
Yeah, during lockdown.
During lockdown, which obviously, lockdown was one of those times where everyone was going through it. Like, no one was on their own in like the way they were feeling. It was just sort of like all you could do back then was fake a smile and just get on with it.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. And actually it was a band called Sticky Fingers. It was one of their songs. It's called Fake a Smile. Yeah. And I don't know, it was just one of those light bulb moments where I was listening to that, and then it's a cool name. And then they got their name from a Rolling Stones album, I believe. Well, there's a Rolling Stones album called The Sticky Fingers. And then we were like, yeah, let's continue that chain. And then, yeah, Fake Smile.
So you mentioned that the idea of coming together as a band happened during the lockdown. So how'd the conversation happen?
Well, you reached out to me. So me and Luca, we went to school together back in Bournemouth. And we were in a band in school, and then we sort of went our separate ways.
And you were living in Holland at the time as well.
Yeah, so I was living in Amsterdam for a year, and then Lucas sort of just because back then we sort of like weren't talking as much. We were still boys, but you reached out and were like, I miss the music, I miss performing, I miss the writing, and I was like, I'm the exact same, and we're like, let's do it.
I was studying at music school in London, and James was studying at uni in Surrey. And then, so we hadn't seen each other like much, but we were talking all the time. And then when James was in Holland, he was with a lot of people from Australia. So he was sending me a lot of like Australian indie music, and we just like both kind of really got into it at the same time. And then we kind of missed being in a band, because I think while I was at uni, I was obviously performing quite a bit because I was studying guitar. And then after, because of COVID and stuff like that, we weren't performing, and I kind of missed having my own band and project that we could do together. So me and James just started it from there, really. Yeah.
Okay, so music has been in you guys' life for a while.
Yeah, so I think we've all started. Like I started with playing drums when I was like 4 or something like that, and just since then I've played guitar, and obviously I'm the singer for the band now. I think you boys are the same, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just like our whole lives pretty much. And like my dad's really into music, so he sort of like influenced a lot of my taste.
So what was the moment where you guys said, I want to pursue music as my career?
I was in Reading when I was like,
we went, me and James went together. I think we'd always wanted to be in a band, like since we kind of bonded over that. We met, because James is the year below me in school, but we met, we were both, being a bit naughty boys in school. And one of the things that our music teacher did to like encourage us to, because we were like in sixth form at the time, I
was in year 11, but yeah.
Oh, were you in 11?
Yes, mate.
Sorry, fact checked me. But we were in they forced us to play for a musical, was it Footloose? Hairspray.
Footloose, yeah.
And so we were in the pit.
Yeah, I know, that would be so good.
I know. James was playing drums in the pit, and I was playing guitar. So then we kind of bonded at that time, and we also, the drummer of our old band, we met down there as well. So a lot went on down there in the pit.
Mate, a lot happened in the pit. There's some dark secrets that have been kept in that pit.
But that's what we both.
So when you guys are creating a song, you know, you guys have everybody has different inputs. So what's that process like?
Yeah, I think I love songwriting. So I think I used to, when I was at uni, I was making a lot of like rap beats and trying to sell rap beats and stuff online, because I was just getting into production and stuff with my friends at uni and things. But I really wanted to like write songs, and I kind of wrote a few when I was young, but I didn't think I was very good at it, so I kind of stopped. Still not great, but we're working on it. But then I don't know, I kind of like, song ideas come in really different ways. Some I'll just pick up a guitar randomly and then like start playing something. I don't know, I take a lot of advice from like people that I look up to as well, like big producers like Rick Rubin and stuff like that. with their advice on songwriting. I try to implement them in my day-to-day writing, because I try and write every day if I can. And then I've got like a lyric notes on my phone that I've been keeping for like 2 years, where I write down everything that I think, whether it's like an emotion that I'm feeling or something I see or something someone said. I think that's like a lot of songwriters do that nowadays. I think it's the most important thing.
I think as well, like why it works well that me and Luke have known each other for so long is that like I'm not afraid to tell him if I really don't like something, or get really gassed if I do. So like,
and I don't really take offense.
Yeah, not at all. So sometimes Luca might send me an idea and I might be like, yeah, that's really cool. I think the chorus actually sounds like a pre-chorus, and I think you can write something as a better hook for the actual chorus. And then like that way, I'm definitely like the sort of filter, for that kind of stuff.
I mean, it is a little bit demoralizing sometimes when you spend 4 hours slaving over a demo and then send it to James and he's like, I'm not feeling this one, mate. I'm like, back to the drawing board for me. But then recently, Ryan, we've been jamming, and I want like we're getting better as a band of like writing together.
Yeah, like there's a few like of the vocal melodies of the song. So Luke will come at me sort of just with the instruments, and then I'll sort of do the vocal melodies over that. And
if I'm stuck, especially
if we're stuck. But I think definitely at the early days it was like 99% Luca. But as we're sort of like evolving and growing closer together musically, it's becoming more of like a group effort.
And I know you mentioned from where you guys first started to where you're at now. What are some lessons that you feel like you've learned as a band together?
Yeah, so so I think one of the main things for me is like when you first start out, it's quite easy to view it as a competition with other artists, but it's really not. Like, say athletes, like if someone's better than you, they're going to steal your spot in the team, where like you can't view music like that. Like it's collaborative, like you're all in this together, you all like can bring each other up together, and like just a sense of like camaraderie that like we formed with like other people in like the music scene in London is like one of my favorite parts of it. And me and Luca work at a hotel actually, and just by chance, well, like this American dude checked in, and I never ask people at work like what they do for a living, but he was like, that guy looks so cool, I need to ask him. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm here, like I've been nominated for a Mercury Award for like producing Arlo Parks' album, and it turned out to be like John Luca Bucalati, who's like just like guiding us through it, and like we're working with him now.
Yeah, we kind of hit it off straight away. It was quite weird, because me and James were slaving away on the desk, and then I was like checking someone in, and James was checking someone in on the desk next to me, and then I heard them talking about an artist that John Luca was here working with, and then like the lead singer of that band FaceTimed him like that minute.
Yeah, so like within 5 minutes of talking to this dude, I'm like on FaceTime with the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Easy Life, and I was like, this is just mental. Like this guy is just crazy. And then he took us to like some like parties with him.
Yeah, we kind of formed a friendship from there.
And we've just formed like such a good friendship.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like that's just such a random occurrence too.
I've thought of like the chances of bumping into him, and it's just like it's like the stars align, and it's like a couple months later he's getting nominated. Like, well, Arlo Parks is up for a Grammy. He's like a Grammy nominated producer, and I'm like, this dude's like fighting in our team now. It's just like it feels like that was a huge turning point where it's like, okay, like we can actually do this. And that was awesome.
That's amazing. That's like such a meant to be moment.
Yeah, literally, it was like this felt like a moment in a movie where it's like, okay, now things are picking up.
It was definitely hard for me when I was trying to concentrate on checking someone in, and I'm just like looking up like, is James actually on FaceTime? So I was like, what's happening over there? It was a funny day, and then we just hit it off from there and became like really close, like best friends. And he looks after us, and we're like,
he definitely looks after us.
That's great. It's like kind of like a mentor mentee type of
That's definitely what it is at the moment. Like because the music industry is hard. And it's really nice having someone like that look out for you.
and offer their guidance. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how would you guys describe your musical style?
Beautiful.
It's like really not I don't know. I suppose a lot of people do say this, but we don't kind of pin it to everything. Like we love everything. We're really big fans of like bands that have been able to evolve over like decades and span like their careers spanned over decades, and they've changed their sound and they've come in and out of like different styles and different genres, and we kind of want to create that ability to adapt and grow because we're still young, and like, you know, the music that we want to, like even the songs that we first started writing when me and James decided, oh, let's be in a band, to the songs that we write now, they sound like worlds apart. And hopefully, like as we develop as songwriters and we keep working with people like John Luca and developing the sound, like we don't know where it's going to go, but it's ballpark like indie music basically.
Yeah, I'd say like it's like a short summary. One of my friends said that like he thinks we're doing a good job of taking like the sort of like psych pop, indie pop elements that are like really synth based. That's definitely comes from the Australian sort of like sound that we love, and then we want to mix that with the indie scene in the UK, and sort of just like lyrics, just talking about everyday things, but just turning them into such like an interesting poem.
I write a lot of the songs are about like experiences that I've had, but I kind of trying to like laugh at myself. Like it will be like, I never want us to take ourselves too seriously. Like I want people to come to our shows and have fun. I think that's what people do love about our shows at the moment, is that it's just like we want it to be like not really cliche saying it's escape, but just come and have a good time. Like we're all here smiling. Like you could laugh at me if I'm writing a song about like, you know, a mistake I've made or a heartbreak that I've had. That's what I want. I want it to be like upbeat and like energy. People to, you know, we want to be the music that you put on when it's sunny, and you know, that type of vibe.
Earlier you mentioned, you know, you pull kind of inspiration from different bands. So which bands or artists do you guys pull inspiration from the most?
It's really hard to pin it down to like particular artists, because like I don't know. Well, me and Luca initially in school, all we used to listen to is metal,
classic rock,
and classic rock, 80s rock. I'm going for a really big 80s thrash metal stage again at the moment, actually.
Yeah, which is really sick actually when you're trying to sleep in the morning as well. And you just hit the lights from Metallica, just like this was one of them. But
yeah, and then like hip hop, like we're just massive fans of hip hop and just the indie scene. It's really hard to pin it down, but one thing that like we definitely pick up on a lot is some of the bands that have been around for the best part of like 50 years and have just evolved to the point where they're not just like retaining their fan base, but they're still bringing on people like all these years later. And like there's so many bands that I listen to that like I wasn't even close to being born yet. My dad wasn't even born yet when they started, and they're still just growing strong. And they're definitely the kind of people that we take a lot of influence from.
When I was going through your Instagram, I saw that you guys had your first show back in 2020. So what was that experience like compared to when you're doing shows now?
Oh, so different, because back then it was so soon after lockdown that people weren't allowed to stand up. So it's just people sat at tables. Like when you were coming in, they were told that they weren't allowed to shout loudly. So we were essentially, just like playing to a bunch of people having drinks at tables and stuff.
Which is so hard when your like brand is like, let's have fun, let's have a good time, and everyone's sat at a table and not allowed to even clap after your show.
And it's so much nerve-wracking when like I'm just up there trying to get people hype and they're just sort of looking up at me like this. It's like, but now our shows, energy, like just getting people dancing, singing along.
Yeah, that's been the craziest thing I think. I found with this band, it's the first time that I've experienced like really writing about things that are like personal, and then when you see like, you know, we're not playing like huge shows now, but like a couple hundred people, like a headline shows in London, we played a few, and like seeing people like sing songs that I wrote in my bedroom about like a situation that I felt about, like emotional about, and having them sing it back to you for the first time, this been like
that's the best feeling ever.
Ever. I think that's why we do this, really, why I like to do this.
And like we really want to make our shows more than just like a gig. Like we want to make it a show. So we don't just want to be like just like the casual, just walking on stage with your instruments and then just playing. We want to make it much more of a spectacle
experience as well.
Experience. It's hard to do that on the budget one at the moment, but but yeah, as we go forward, that's definitely something we want to keep on doing, just making our shows just more and more crazy.
What's next? Where do you guys hope to go? What's coming for the band as in the future? Like, what's next?
I think like in terms. Wait, can I ask you a question? In terms of what we wanted, or like what our ambitions are, or like what we think, like or development wise.
I would say development wise. Okay,
I think definitely pushed like towards that, a more of a sound that we can create that's a signature of the band for this era of the band. Yeah, developing songwriting. We're
we like haven't got an album yet, so I'd say in the next couple of years, just having like a body of work that like tells a story
that we're really proud of as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We love sort of albums that take you on a journey. It's not just like, one song. I love it when the songs flow into each other. There's a beginning and an end. And yeah, that's something that like we're definitely working hard towards. We've got like a ridiculous amount of demos, just writing literally hundreds of songs. So just getting the album done is the dream at the moment.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned you guys don't have an album yet, but you guys have a few singles that are out. So if you could recommend 2 songs to any person who was to ask what songs represent the band the best, which 2 songs would you recommend to them?
I think they're all pretty old now, but
Over and Over, definitely.
Yeah, Over and Over was good. Like that was a weird one, because that was one I like. It's crazy because I remember we were like we wanted to go to the studio. Well, it was like just when we're coming out of COVID, and we wanted to go to record some singles because we just wanted to put some music. We were just keen to put some music out, and we found a producer that we liked, and we went to do that. And we were like, I was like, it was one of those things. Again, this is like a learning experience, because we kind of like booked the studio, and I was like, I need to write some more songs. And then one day I'm constantly listening to music like 24/7, and my AirPods were out of charge. I was at my parents' house during like that lockdown period, like beginning of 2021. And so my AirPods were out of charge, and I went out for like a cigarette, and I would normally always have my AirPods in listening to music, but that day they ran out of charge. And when I was out there smoking, I was just like kind of stood in the garden, and just the melody for that synth line came into my head just out of nowhere, and instantly went and sat down on the piano and came up with it, and then sent it to the boys, and everyone liked it. And then I think that's our proudest, like the thing we're most proud of, that song to this current point.
Yeah, I'd say as well, Quick Lover always goes off live as well, and Lindsay. But I'd say like, especially when we do live, Over and Over and Quick Lover, I'd say are the 2.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for speaking with me today. You guys are amazing, and I can't wait to see how the band picks up and how you guys flourish.
Thank you. Thanks so much.